This time on Whatever We Want, we talk about...
Not WandaVision!
No, we changed it up!
We're doing a super special episode. We're interviewing my good friend, Johnny Scarpelli, who we intro him in, like, literally a few seconds. There are no spoilers. No spoiler warning. We don't have to do that. Oh my gosh, it feels kind of weird. But yeah, it's a really good conversation,
No, we're
honestly.
spoiling Johnny. We're spoiling him.
Yeah.
We're
right,
revealing
that
his
weird.
life story, and we're getting a deep dive.
Yeah, it's actually a really good conversation.
It's like a deep dish pizza.
Talking about, like, finding your passion and everything in life, so hopefully you'll find some enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
All right, enjoy. PreBanter! PreBanter peanut butter Daniel, how are you doing, my friend?
I am doing okay. I am here.
Just okay? Why?
There's some technical stuff that happened with my computer, and some things got wishy-washy. Still have everything's good, but we're gonna have to rebuild some things, which kind of sucks. On the plus side, though, I was able to get some pretty fans and cables and stuff in there, so it finally looks like. So that's what the okay is. It's like it's leveled out. Anyway, continue.
Gotcha. Well, you know what's gonna excite you?
What?
What we're talking about this week. Let's do the intro so then I can introduce it. All right, ready?
Yeah, hit me with it.
You may want us to talk about this or that, but we don't care. We're gonna talk about whatever we want. Blah. Welcome back to Whatever We Want, the podcast where reaching Daniel, two devilish handsome gentlemen, talk about movies, podcasts, or not podcasts, movies, TV shows, giving behind-the-scenes insights, filmmaking techniques, all that jazz. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're not talking about WandaVision, Daniel, are we?
Every time you do that intro, it always gets like a jiffy faster, and it's it's to the point.
I need to beat my PR.
Yeah.
I should be like,
Oh man, but yeah,
like slow it down. I'm training to be an auction guy.
I feel like we need to make a compilation of all the different ways you've done it. Anywho, yeah, we're not talking about WandaVision today. We're talking about our buddy, our bestest
We're
boy.
talking to Johnny Scarpelli. He is one of my friends from the Penn State film program. He's been in a lot of my classes. He's a great cinematographer, just all around good person. He's doing amazing things. We talk about it later, but he's doing amazing things over on YouTube. His link's gonna be down in the description. You should definitely check that out. I'm really excited to talk to him. So let's just jump into it. You ready?
Yeah, let's jump into it.
Cue the interview. All right, Johnny, welcome. Very special guest. Thank you so much for being here. How are you doing today?
Doing fantastic. Happy to be here. Appreciate it. Let's get it.
Daniel, how are you as well? I know we've been talking, but...
Tired. I actually just woke up from like another 2-hour nap.
Nice. All right. So, Johnny here, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? Like, you're in my film classes and stuff, but like, what do you like to do? Yeah, just the whole shebang. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I mean, when I first came to Penn State, I was looking for kind of like connection-based things, and when I came here, I joined a frat, met some cool people, and then I started taking film classes, and I met Jake. I met you in God, was it 242 or is it? It was one of those. It
was the greatest day of your life.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. I don't know when it was. It was around that time, yeah. Which is like pretty early in Penn State film career.
Yes. And I honestly didn't know what to expect when I came here, and I'm glad I did, because I guess for filmmaking, I've always been into it. Like it's been a thing since, God, I was shooting Nerf guns with one of my friends from home, making little iPod videos. So
yeah,
the one shot thing, like for hours we would do it, and that kind of transitioned, and I kind of was like, I want to take it to the next level. So I was like, I'm gonna come to Penn State. I got accepted, and this was my like dream school. So coming here meant the world to me. So
that's awesome.
Being able to be in the film major too was just another great step.
So did you come in like knowing you wanted to go into the film program at Penn State?
Yes, I did. I thought,
okay.
Well, originally they said, oh, you have to apply there. And then, I rushed, and my grades weren't the best in my first semester because, like partying. I was having my...
It's a transition. Yeah. We have an episode actually on the transition from high school to college that people should like check out. But yeah.
But yeah, no, it was definitely, I'm grateful to be here. Like everything is awesome, and it's going to what do you call it? Shoot me to the stars. I don't know, it's kind of classy, but cliche, but that's what I'm basically hoping for.
So what specifically, like in film, I mean, I know, but for our audience and for Daniel who doesn't know, like what specifically in film interests you, and like where do you want to go in like the future?
Yeah, I was actually about to ask that.
Wow, Daniel's just copying me now.
We're just on the same wavelength, It's just...
So I guess there's kind of like two paths. We have my football. It was an internship Then I went to being a video production manager. And then I got offered a part-time position with athletics. And I kind of want to focus on sports and see where that takes me. Kind of like,
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, obviously, we have to take that year-long film class. Some people don't have to. I think there's different types, but I'm with Grant.
Yeah, I'm not taking that one. I'm taking a different one, but yeah.
Okay.
You're with Grant. We should get Grant on the show too. He's like,
Yes, you guys got it.
he's
Yeah.
like known all around the Penn State film program. He was my roommate actually in the Hollywood program.
Really? That's awesome.
That was a time.
Oh, I'm sure. Especially with COVID. Oh, God. But basically,
Yeah.
there's two routes. I got sports, kind of like sport live production, not like necessarily Jumbotron, but more like the artsy creative aspect, like short highlights, short like action pieces, like, maybe a big play, something like quick edits, quick cuts. And then arguably the complete opposite, a short film, like when it's very slow.
Like narrative based.
Narrative based, yeah. And I love horror films. I'm a horror guy. I don't get me wrong. I love, romantic comedies, sci-fi. But you know what? I'm making my senior thesis of a horror film. Grant loves horror, and me and him just connected on that level. And I'm glad that it worked out, because I guess you could say I got two passions in film, which is cool, because I want to expand. I don't want to focus on one thing. So I'm glad I have those two kind of routes.
It's always good to be dynamic. So that's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Your cinematography though is very well known. Like I remember last year in our what was it, like 440 class, everyone was like, I want Johnny to be their cinematographer kind of thing.
Dude, I don't like being cocky or like that, but I remember a couple groups reached out and I was like, this is sick. Like, like my whole life that's never really happened. Like maybe for small things, but for being at Penn State, people reaching out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talent here. Like I've seen some really good filmmakers.
Yeah.
And to be kind of like asked and appreciated for my work. I mean, I've always been appreciated, but it's nice to have that, sometimes. So that was cool. And I appreciate that, of course, endlessly.
Yeah. You also like I feel like a big thing just in when you find something like that you like, I feel like you have to just stand out, like you have to go above and beyond and like do something outside of like the classroom, and you've kind of done that like kind of with your YouTube channel. Can you talk a little bit just about what you've been doing with that? I watched that, and like you make some like pretty amazing stuff there.
Thank you. So basically what happened was when I came to Penn State, I was overwhelmed and I kind of slowed down on YouTube, but recently I've been, especially honestly during over the quarantine, remember the national lockdown?
Yeah, you were grinding.
I was posting videos, making content, doing stuff, taking photos, shooting stuff, and I came back to school, and now that I have money to invest from, making sorority recruitment videos, taking photos of my friends or even models or companies, various clients, even in State College, people reaching out, which is awesome. I did not expect that. And
that's pretty cool.
YouTube kind of just took off. I don't know if I necessarily can make money because that takes a lot of work, but I think maybe at some point, you see a little rise up of JS Productions and you see some more content coming soon. I mean, I would love to do that.
Yeah, and we're going to mention that your YouTube channel again at the end. You should check it out. The link's going to be in the description. Johnny's actually like making a video just mentioning this about being on like the podcast and stuff. So you should definitely go check out, subscribe, like all the jazz that you do on YouTube.
Hit all the like buttons. Make sure you hit that notification bell. That way you never miss a new video that comes out.
Yeah, download Raid Shadow Legends, his sponsor, all that stuff. No, I'm just kidding.
Smash the like button for the algorithm. That's what people say now.
Yeah. No, I saw you did a while ago. You did like your pizza like B-roll among like other videos, but that one like really stood out to me. Like I like love watching those videos, and that like was like a really good one that you did.
Thank you.
It was really cool. I highly recommend like checking that out. Daniel, check it out.
I did kind of too. Was it the frat one or was it the one at home during COVID quarantine lockdown?
Whatever, 9 months ago, cinematic pizza making B-roll edit.
That's the first one. Yeah, that was inspired by Daniel Sheffer, a YouTuber guy, filmmaker. You might have heard of him. He does all that stuff.
Yeah, yes, I have heard of him.
Mm-hmm. I was like, you know what? Like, he does it. Why not? My family was like making pizza one night, and I was like, you know what? I was like, I've been in my room playing Fallout 76 the past 24 hours, basically. So I grabbed my camera. I was like, my family knows like what I am capable of, and I was like, I'm gonna blow their socks off. They didn't expect to see that. They saw me, taking video, doing my movements, recording actual sound on a separate device, because I don't really do that. Now with sound being so crucial in filmmaking, I didn't really understand that, and I blew them away, and I blew myself away at the time and energy I spent with my creativity abilities, I guess you could say, and I just kind of grinded that out, and I was like, you know what, people like that. And maybe I do some more of that. We'll see.
It's just crazy to me, like, because I also understand and appreciate like all the work that goes into that. Like, it's a 30-second clip, but just like I can't even imagine like how much time you spent on that, and then it comes out to like 30 seconds that, and like a lot of people, like the mainstream audience probably don't appreciate like everything you did behind the scenes. Like that's crazy.
That's funny you brought that up. Because people like, even in like my fraternity, like they watch my stuff, they love it. They ask like, "Oh, how long does it take to make a video?" I'm like, like that's a hard question to ask. It's like kind of asking a filmmaker, "What's your top 25 movies?" Like you can't really. I mean, maybe people have that, but for me, like that video probably took a solid day to do. But that's crazy. It's 30 seconds. Like that's just how it is.
Well, you did mention just now, like, it's a crazy question to ask, like, favorite film and stuff, but, like, I am going to ask you, like, do you have, like, either directors or certain cinematographers or just, like, types of movies that you, like, gravitate to, or examples you can give of movies with, like, good cinematography in your mind?
I mean, see, the thing is, like, I am a film major, but for me, like, it's hard for me to sit down and watch a movie without asking myself a million different questions, you know?
Yeah.
I can't really enjoy a movie unless I really do. So, like, for instance, for me, like, I guess Halloween, like 1978, 1978, that original Halloween movie.
Yeah.
That, like, I did a presentation on, like, the cinematography of it, John Carpenter, and obviously he's the director, but just the fact, like, the way it's shot, like, it blows my mind that they could do some things in that, like, at that time. Like,
yeah,
you look at films now, and it's, like, kind of seeing the same thing. I don't want to be negative towards films now, but I wish we would see more classical filmmaking. I mean, I guess CGI has been a big thing in that type of, it's a new type of territory, like music, you know. Rap wasn't a thing 40 or 50 years ago. Now it is.
Right.
Maybe it was. I'm not really that sure. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of moving towards ways. And I think for me, like, my filmmaking is definitely inspired by that 70s, 80s, early 90s type of filmmaking, you know. Very, I don't want to say conventional, but it's not like your typical Hollywood blockbuster these days, I guess.
It feels more organic as compared to...
Yeah, organic, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like what you said. It's really tough for you to like enjoy films because I find myself the same way. Like I'm always like analyzing when I'm watching a film, unless it's like you said, like a really good film. I think films that like can take me, someone who like studies films, like out of my like analyzing goggle vision, and like I can just sit down and like enjoy a film. Like I think that's a great film, and I think for me, like Christopher Nolan does that like so much. Like I love like I just watched Inception with my roommates the other day, and I just like can sit back and just like be an audience member. So like films like that can do that are like amazing in my eyes.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's a couple of films, like I love Star Wars. I'm a Star Wars fanboy. Like,
yeah,
just that type of sci-fi, like space, very interesting. But like, I don't know. I guess more recently, movies that really like sparked my knowledge was kind of like those 2001: A Space Odyssey, because it got me thinking, like, not about like the cinematography. Obviously, it's regarded as one of the best, you know, movies ever made. It's on that list, but just, I didn't find myself asking, "Oh, this shot, this, that." I kind of was engulfed in the story. Like,
you get lost in the sauce.
Yeah, you get lost. Yeah, you're just like, wow. I love when that happens, and it's kind of rare, but when it does, it's nice, refreshing.
Yeah. Daniel, since you're like more into like creating video games and stuff like that, do you find you experience that when you're playing video games, like you're analyzing it and you like only like a really good game can like take you out of that, or is that not the case?
No, it is exactly the same. It's like there's so many times where like I mean, we've all played games where like you walk up to a mesh, right? And then you just see like how pixelated the textures are and stuff like that, or maybe there's just something that like it takes you out of the game. But then there's game, like for me it's, again, it's sometimes like Star Wars based games or stuff like that, where it's the narrative storytelling, like Jedi Fallen Order. The storytelling in that was amazing, and it's usually those types of elements that keep me locked into it and really make it more immersive.
Yeah, in my screenwriting class right now, we're talking about like you can this makes sense, but like you can have like the fanciest like camera angles and like tricks like cinematography shots and stuff, but like if your base story isn't good, then like audiences aren't going to like connect with it and enjoy it as much. I thought that was just an interesting point.
Yeah, like the average person, I mean, I guess like about video games for me, like I like No Man's Sky, like Fallout 76. You obviously know like those games when they came out were not that good. But as like things progress and updates come out, and I think kind of like movies, the same thing. Like, you know, people make the first movie and like, wow, it's good or it's really bad. And then they come out with a remake or the second version, and then maybe that's good or bad. It's kind of the same thing with like video games, where you go back to the drawing boards and you redo it, or you just have new thought or new creativity, which is kind of like more it's happening more now than I've recently known with back in the day.
Yeah,
back in my day.
if you give it the love and care, you know, it'll definitely come out much more powerful.
Yeah.
You know? So again, I don't want to get too far off on a tangent, but one thing I'm really excited for is how things are transitioning into like VR.
Mhm.
Not only how that's going to be for games, but also for film, and how that's going to be changing a large dynamic.
Yeah, like with Jon Favreau doing so much stuff with Lion King and kind of bringing that into Mandalorian and stuff. Like there's this behind the scenes shots of him, like they're literally like him and his like DP are like setting up shots like in VR in like the virtual Lion King space, which is like insane to me.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about. Not only how it's being used as a development tool. Like I'm able to like do sculpts and stuff now in VR to then put those objects into games, which is crazy.
Wow.
But at the same time, like just the viewing experience. Like I went to SIGGRAPH a couple years ago, which is like a big, tech.
We also have an episode on that.
Yes, we did.
Check that out.
It's like a huge tech convention, and there was this thing called VR Theater, and there was so many like different animations, but also just like short films, right? That were just done amazingly for specifically viewing in VR. So it's just cool, in my opinion, just to see where the industry's going in that direction.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, of course. Always changing and evolving.
So, Johnny, I'm going to get back to talking to you just about like your experience and stuff. You talked about how you came to Penn State with like film like set in your mind. Did you have like a moment when you like knew like, all right, film is definitely like what I want to do? Like that's what I want to pursue a degree in? Or was it just kind of like gradual? Like did you have like an aha moment kind of thing or?
So I've talked to people before about like their passions and stuff. And some people just don't have that. Like they're still in college. They're still finding what they want to do. And for me, I truthfully found out that I had a calling, like it just felt like me. Honestly, geez, middle school, 6th, 7th grade, 8th grade.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember I was kind of like the underdog in my class. Like there was a lot of filmmakers in mine, I remember, and I hope they're doing good now. I think a couple of them are still more photography based, but I remember just loving the competition. And I remember it's like, I like this drawing I have. And I just, 5th, 6th, 7th grade, middle school. I don't have an exact time frame, but middle school, I would say that time. Like your 13, 14, 15 area. And I kind of just knew right then and there. And then when I got to high school, fortunately enough, my high school had film production classes, photography classes.
That's really cool.
It had different departments. And then I went to my community college locally and was like, I actually went for business, believe it or not. I want to do, because I figured I knew everything, right? You're cocky, you're freshman, you're like, oh, I know everything in the world. That was me.
Yeah.
And I went to business. I was like, this is, no offense to business majors, but that's just not my kind of thing.
No, full offense. No, I'm just kidding.
But I switched majors there, and I got my associate's degree, I think, maybe. But then I transferred to Penn State. I don't know.
Yeah.
It matters to me to get bachelor's. But
I think I got a degree.
yeah, I think. I mean, I guess to answer your question, I guess I found out middle school, like very, very absurdly early. Like a lot of people find out, now, I guess. Or
later even.
A couple of years later. That's what scared me is I was fortunate enough and I was grateful that I had my passion so young, and my parents always knew that, and I think it just put me in a position where I could teach myself when I was like 13, 14 with literally an iPod Touch. And when I got my own camera, I remember it was like, I still have it. It's like this green little,
the OG.
I think it's 360p, not even 480p. It's 360p.
Jeez.
Yes. Yeah, I know, right? And I would shoot different angles, and I didn't know what it was called. I didn't know different, like, medium, close-up, wide, established.
Yeah.
I just thought, I'm just going to move the camera. I thought it'd be cool, different perspective. So, it kind of just progressed, and that's kind of where I went on a tangent, but that's kind of what I have come from.
No, it's all good.
I can actually relate to that so hard. For me, it wasn't really, it wasn't like in middle school. It was like actually right when I transitioned into high school, because at that time, I played video games all my life, but at that time, I remember
as the person who played video games with you, I can agree. And,
Jake can
confirm
attest. But I have a specific moment where it was just like it hit me, I went back
he was playing video games with me, and he was like, I hate this game. Jake sucks. I'm going to make my own game now. And that was when he knew.
Just made your own.
Yes, exactly. No. What was I was actually playing Ratchet and Clank Going Commando, which is the second Ratchet and Clank that Insomniac Games made. And I glitched outside the map on this one planet. And if you went to this one building, it actually took you to this place called the Insomniac Museum. And
I know that museum, yeah.
And in there, they showed you so many things that were scrapped from the game, bios about people, things that
It's like a behind the scenes like of the game, but in the game.
yeah, it was like a whole behind the scene. Yeah, and this is still the time where like, you know, like YouTube's really not that big yet. I mean, it kind of was, but it was still getting there. But it was like it just opened my eyes into like how games were made, and it was just like, I can do this. You know, people get paid money, you know,
Yeah.
to do this kind of stuff, and it's cool stuff. Like I remember going around like they had extra vehicles in there, particle effect editors. Which even now when I'm using engines like Unreal and Unity, I'm just like, I think back to that, I like get a mental tear. I'm just like, oh man.
Mental tear.
Mental tear.
That's funny. That's really cool that you know that as well.
Yeah, there's.
But yeah, that's what it was for me. Did you have anything like that, Jake, or were you just like?
Well, so I don't remember if I've talked about this on the podcast or not, but like, so I do remember the moment I decided like to go into film. So like, I mean, obviously like, Daniel, we made like dumb little YouTube videos as early as like early middle school.
Yeah.
On like my crappy 5th grade laptop, and like
Those were the days.
running everything. And the video ended up being like 2 FPS, but like it was fine. Yeah. So we were just making dumb little video game like videos, and I always kind of like complained to my friends. I was like, you guys never help me with anything. Like I'm doing all the work, just like kind of joking, because I actually like just really enjoyed editing and the process of like coordinating everything, and then I loved editing like everything together. So I really didn't mind that they weren't doing anything, and just that kind of stuck with me, and I kept coming back to YouTube every few years. I was just like, I really like editing. I like spend my own money to get like editing softwares and stuff, editing programs, and then like I went into college here at Penn State. I got accepted for mechanical engineering, and I know left turn there. But I was like doing fine in my classes. Like I met like my roommates and stuff in my engineering classes, so like I don't regret it at all. But I was like, I remember very distinctly fall of freshman year, I was literally like in the shower. I had like a shower epiphany, and I was just like, I don't see a future where like I would enjoy being like an engineer. And then I was like, well, what could I do? And then like it just like clicked. Like I just love like editing, and at that point I had already been starting to like research a bunch of movies just because I loved learning about behind the scenes like interviews. Like I would spend hours just procrastinating on homework by watching like interviews of like behind the scenes stories from set, from like actors from like Marvel and Star Wars movies, and it just like all kind of came together. I was like, wow, like I really like enjoy this. I do this in my free time. Like why not just do this? And then like I decided, I was like, I'm gonna do this. So I talked to my parents and I switched into film. And then I think like in 2 semesters was then when we had that 242 class, Johnny.
Yep.
After that,
when I transferred to it.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just like, yeah, just kind of all came. That was kind of like my aha moment, was like in the shower. It was like I'm gonna do like kind of film thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's my aha moment, I guess. It's interesting we had like how people discover like their passions differently. I kind of wanted to ask like how you guys would recommend, or like any suggestions or tips you could give someone who doesn't have their passion yet. Like what would you suggest to them?
I guess for me, from what I've learned from people around me, that they even ask me like, how'd you get into filmmaking, or what kind of sparked that? I'm like, honestly, experimenting with things, you know. Yeah. I also I love video games, I love space. Believe it or not, reading sometimes doesn't bother me. I like it. But for me, like,
believe it or not, you're insane.
Yeah, I know, right?
No, I'm just kidding. I like reading.
I mean, I played football in high school, so like when I read a book, people were like, why are you reading a book, man? I don't know. So yeah, like I guess for me a recommendation is you gotta jump out and experience new things, different things. Yeah. Get yourself uncomfortable, because that's when you're going to make decisions. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. But sometimes you have those aha moments, and sometimes you don't, and you're just kind of gradually moving into it, or you just know and you have something deep in the mind. You're like, I got to do this, or I want to do that. And you kind of just have to.
Jumping off that, I feel like it's even beneficial to, if you find out what you don't like to do, because then you're like narrowing it down, like, all right, maybe I don't like photography or whatever, like I can explore something else. Now I know that that's not my thing. So even jumping out, even if you aren't like, if you feel like you're not getting anywhere, you are getting somewhere by like kind of crossing off things that you don't want to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, it works both ways.
And I think people get discouraged.
Like you're naturally going to gravitate towards things that grab your attention, right?
Yeah.
While at the same time, you're going to realize things that you don't want to do.
Yeah. And some things can like be your hobbies, but like you would hate it for work. Like that's also like another distinction.
You know, like I'm not a Twitch streamer. I love playing games, but I don't stream that kind of stuff because I get too passionate about it sometimes, you know? Just being honest.
You get too ragey about it is what I think you meant to say.
Multiplayer can do that too, person. Anywho.
Yes.
Johnny, you sound like so like, yes, I know. Like you're getting flashbacks.
I know. I have Twitch streamed before, and I don't know why I did it.
I did it a little bit. Yeah, it's all in the past. Sorry, Daniel.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying?
That's pretty much the point I wanted to make. Like you'll realize there's certain things that just hit, and then sometimes it's just you just gotta go and stick with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that's good advice.
When you know, basically.
Yeah. Daniel, did you have any? I have some other questions, but it kind of takes us off on a long tangent. Do you have anything you want to ask, or Johnny, do you have anything you want to say? Just in this little break.
I guess for you guys, what made you want to create a podcast? I'm sure people have asked that multiple times, but why you I remember hearing about it it was last semester. I followed it, or it just brought up a conversation, and I've always been intrigued by podcasts. I'm used to watching YouTube or actual video.
Yeah.
But sometimes just listening to audio when you're just doing something for me, instance, cleaning the room, I sometimes just flipping on a podcast about filmmaking and discussions, just hearing things in the background is nice for me. But how about you guys? What made you want to do this together, or was it originally just one of your guys' ideas that kind of just sparked in this?
It was actually Jake that was. I mean, he's been doing a lot of the heavy load for this, So he came to me because we both love nerdy stuff like Star Wars, and we both love Marvel movies, stuff like that. He's like, we already talk about it. Why don't we have a podcast about it? And he already does all the editing and has all the technical background for doing that. So he just took the mantle on that. But it came the Patreon and designing the art and stuff like that. He's kind of I kind of want to say he's been a good manager for this, honestly.
Thanks.
He tells me what aspects I can help with, and then obviously I help and design art and other things like that. But overall, I mean, it's just two guys that just really love talking about stuff that we already love watching, So I think that's the heart of it.
And going off what you said with Jake being very organized, I remember we did something. I remember we had Rod asked us to do something in class, a short, a little clip scene, or we had to film something. And I remember being okay, Jake, you got to be the producer. He had the headset thingy on. He had the notebook.
Yeah.
He knew. It's just nice when people are organized. I myself I'm a very organized person, but also at times I'm not. But it seems
I can relate.
You vote. You got. But Jake, on the other hand, just you seem like you got things together.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
I like this portion. Just hyping me up. but I do appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
No problem.
For the podcast, I'm in it for the money. No, I'm just kidding. Absolutely not. Yeah, kind of what Daniel said. I listened to a podcast, and I still listen to a podcast occasionally. It's called The Weekly Planet. It's two Australian guys, and it's actually kind of similar, I think, to how we have it set up, where one is the manager type, and then the other is brought on to, I think, be the funny one. And Daniel, I think that's you, the funny one.
Yay!
But yeah, so and they talk about more movie news kind of thing, and I think the podcast helps me first off, it helps me keep fresh with editing. I've gotten so good at the Premiere hotkeys just because I edit a podcast every week, and you can ask Logan, when I'm in the zone, my roommate, when I'm in the zone, I'm just on the keyboard.
Yeah, you just go quick with it. Yep.
Just going. It also, I feel, helps me. I think I always wanted to go through all the Marvel and Star Wars movies and watch the behind the scenes things, but it's such a time commitment, and this is now I have a reason to go and do that. It also, I think, helps me, forces me to watch films and analyze them, and I guess get better at dissecting behind the scenes things. And so I think that's part of it. And also, just Daniel said, he's my friend, and I think it'd be fun to just we already talk about this kind of stuff. Why not put it out there, I guess?
Why not just record it and then put it out there? Yeah.
Of course. Makes so much sense.
Yeah, that was a good question. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Sorry, I was blown away. I'm not used to getting asked that kind of question.
No, you're telling me no one's ever asked why you guys started? Really?
I think I don't think anyone's I mean, we've never really done an interview on the podcast before.
Oh.
Really, we just have guests on to talk about other things that we're currently talking about. So this is kind of different. You're our first.
Really?
You're taking our interview virginity away, I guess.
I've become to learn that I'm a very good listener, but also a decent amount of speaker. I mean, sometimes I jumble my words. That's just how I am. I speak.
I'm just a
fast.
perfect person, is what you're saying, pretty much.
No,
I'm just kidding.
not.
I thought you were about to say you're good at taking away virginity, and I was like, "What are you, Johnny?"
But I mean, I love talking. That's just Jake, you definitely know I talk a lot. Like, you just can tell.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, when I talk about something I love, even if I don't love something, I still will listen, still will talk. And I think that's what...
It's a good quality in people.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, I saw your podcast. Like, you know what? Like, why not? Like, I was expecting, like, oh, you might have to pay us or something. I don't know. I didn't expect to just hop right on. Because I've never done a podcast. I was always kind of interested in being on one.
Yeah.
And I was like, why not? Like, it's something, you guys love to do this, and why not be there and see what happens with it?
How's the experience been? Has it been a letdown or?
No, it's been awesome. I mean, it's nice talking to people about the same interests, and also I love video games, so I totally get why you guys both connected. You guys both have similar passions. Video game creating is kind of its own art in its way, and filmmaking the same thing,
Yeah.
So it works out.
We've been talking for a bit. Before we wrap up this interview, I want to go back to the whole passion thing and kind of ask a specific to you, Johnny. What do you have? What recommendations do you have for someone trying to find their passion specifically in film? If they know they want to do film, but they don't know specifically what they want to do in film, and I feel like your advice still applies, to just explore. But do you have anything else that you could recommend, being that you are in film itself?
So I actually have been asked a decent amount of times about hey, how can I advance my knowledge, or how can I experience more things, or what made you interested? How can I be a part of it? And all it really is you got to have phone. I hate to say it. You could use a phone. You could use a phone to record videos. I mean, it really is practice makes perfect. And if someone's really enjoying film, watching film, editing, filmmaking, writing, directing, being a PA, production assistant. I mean, that's people love doing that too. But for me, is you just got to get involved. You got to reach out to fellow students that you may know.
That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, people reach out to me, and I've reached out to people. I mean, I unfortunately didn't have people to reach out to, and I kind of, like I said in the beginning, I put myself in uncomfortable situations. Fortunate enough, I think I'm pretty good with talking to people. I'm not really that nervous, I guess, when I talk to people. So I guess I was very invested in myself, and I went out, bought a Canon T2i. I remember that.
Yeah.
And it was $300, and I still today recommend the Canon Rebel series. But
that's what I have.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great camera. I love it. I have the Canon 80D. I'm looking for the Blackmagic, but sorry, I don't want to get off that. It's a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
But for people that are interested, or they want to maybe try out filmmaking, or they're just looking for a way to get really into it and kind of push themselves forward along the way, you just got to establish connections, establish good contacts with friends, and hey, do you guys want to make something? Start making content, making videos, taking photos, reaching out, doing free things. For me, I did free photo shoots or free video shoots. And after I got really good amount of practice in me, got a lot of under my belt, I reached out to, a couple clients here and there. Of course, I got denied. You got to get used to getting denied. That's one thing that's hard for me. But
that's a great piece of advice.
Mm-hmm. Once you get that one person's what, I'll pay you $50 for a video, which is, I don't charge $50. I do $50 an hour at this point, but
yeah, that's
maybe more than that.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere, and you go from there. You got to, like I said, experience new things. For me, I really liked video, but I was like, you know what? I saw photography. I was like, I'm gonna try it out, and I take photos a lot too. Kind of bums me out though. People think I'm more of a photographer than a videographer, but those are just the average people. They don't know filmmaking. But once you see my film, you're like, okay, he's a filmmaker, not a photographer.
Yeah.
So I hope I answered that question. I tend to elaborate too much sometimes.
No, that's really good. I think people can take lots of good snippets of advice out of that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I do want to keep this episode not super long. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we kind of sign off?
I was just going. You said you wanted what would you say, going with the flow, I guess, my honest voice. And I enjoyed it. It was I honestly expected, what got you into filmmaking, and we went on other things too, which was awesome, because I didn't want it just to be about certain things. And I with that, I was just like, this is perfect, because it's personality. It shows we all, it's a personality podcast, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Our interests, we have the same interest in some things. Some things we're like, oh, really? That's interesting, So that's why I thought that was cool, and I was ready to hop on and talk.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that, dude. Again, everyone, please check in the description. We're going to have Johnny's YouTube channel. It's JS Productions. Is that correct?
Yeah, JS Productions, yep.
Okay. Yeah, so he's making some great stuff over there. Give him some love on those videos. Check out the cinematic pizza making, because that was pretty cool. But also all of them.
You might get a little hungry, though. Yeah.
Yeah, but Johnny, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a nice, good conversation. Again, like we said, this is the first time we've kind of done this, and I really enjoyed it, and hoping to do more interviews. So you're sort of like a trendsetter, I guess.
Sweet. Thank you. I appreciate it. Of course. It was a blast. Hope you're doing well. I'm sure I'll see you once we go in person at some point. I'll probably see you at Innovation. Maybe Willard if it opens up.
Hopefully. I don't want to go to Innovation.
Yeah, it's far.
All right. See you, dude.
I'll see you guys. Enjoy yourselves.
See you,
all right?
man.
Thank you.
Yeah, you too.
You too. Wow, that was dude, freaking Johnny. You know,
What a guy.
he's a cool guy. Cool guy.
But it's just you and me now, Daniel. It's just you and me, Daniel. Sorry, I said that twice really weird because I thought I had audio coming through my phone and I didn't know if it was going to pick it up again.
Yeah, you said that twice, and I'm like, okay. But you also said it with a weird seduction.
It sounded creepier, I realized.
It's like, hey, it's just you and me, Daniel.
Let's move on.
Small pause.
Let's do Patron shout-outs.
Hey.
Let's move on.
Hey, it's just you and me, Daniel. It's like, hey, okay, Jake, I get it. Patrons.
Keep having Star Wars music. Boosh. You got Patron Lori, Frank, Rick, Evan, and Tony. Thank you so much for listening to the tier. That gets you the shout out. If you want to support us over on Patreon, you can. The link is in the description. We really appreciate it. Get episodes early, other cool perks, stuff like that. Also, please feel free to leave a review. I want to call out everyone on Apple Podcasts. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, even if you don't, go over to Apple Podcasts, leave a review, and just put your favorite type of sandwich in the review.
Honestly, yeah, I'd be curious about that. Let me know.
Because I think I'm going to forget that I said this, so then I'm just going to look at our reviews and just see,
a bunch of
BLT.
sandwiches.
And I'll be like, what on earth? So I think that'd be really funny.
Also, make a guess of what our favorite sandwiches are.
Yeah, and we will reveal it next time if we remember. So
Yeah.
we probably won't reveal it next
Yeah.
time.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
We'll see.
If people put down reviews, we'll remember. That's the trick.
Yeah, that's true. So if you leave a review, then you'll get to learn our favorite sandwich. All right. Next time, we're going to talk about WandaVision. Again, just as another reminder, please check out Johnny's stuff down in the description. Really appreciate him coming on. Johnny, thank you. Yeah. So, also check out our social medias, Instagram, comment, tweet, review, whatever you want. I wrote down the goals of the podcast this year, and our goal is to just keep growing. I have specifics. If we get a lot of reviews, maybe I'll reveal some of those. And yeah, when Johnny's famous and super successful, we'll always have this interview with him, you know?
Yeah. So we're set.
All right, ready for the outro?
It's like investing in Bitcoin, but doing it early.
Okay, ready for the outro?
Yeah. We just talked about whatever we want to talk about, and now we're done.
Thank you so much for listening, everyone. We really, 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 really appreciate it. Again, I'm practicing to be an auction guy, remember? All right. We'll see you next time for WandaVision Episode 4. Getting really excited about that. I hope you're enjoying the last 2 episodes with the guests that we've had. It's been a lot of fun. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.